Minnesota Vikings epic video script. Explosive breaking news, Viking Nation. The first revelation is about to detonate inside US Bank Stadium, and you're not ready for what just hit the Purple Kingdom. 5 earth-shattering updates have just landed, and each one could redefine the entire future of this franchise. A former quarterback is suddenly making the front office look like absolute geniuses with a masterclass performance that's about to hand Minnesota a massive draft gift. A beloved safety legend faces his first Week 1 absence in 14 years due to a mysterious illness that has the entire organization on edge. Our franchise left tackle's injury status remains murky as Monday Night Football approaches, and the decision could make or break J.J. McCarthy's debut. 2 former Viking superstars just delivered a statement performance with their new team that's got everyone questioning what could have been. And Tom Brady himself just dropped a reality check about our rookie quarterback that every single Viking fan needs to hear before they get their hopes too high. Each of these shocks could redefine the future of this team. And if you bleed purple more than you hate Green Bay, you better buckle up because this ride is about to get wild. The storm starts right now with a revelation no one saw coming. But hold on, as shocking as that revelation is, the next update cuts even deeper into the heart of Viking Nation. Remember Daniel Jones? Yeah, that quarterback we signed last season who never took a single snap in purple. Well, prepare to have your mind completely blown because what just happened in Indianapolis is about to make Kwesi Adofo-Mensah look like the most brilliant general manager in the entire NFL. The buzz around the Vikings bonus draft pick is absolutely skyrocketing and giving fans a brand new reason for explosive excitement. Here's why the optimism is growing and what it could mean for our championship aspirations. Daniel Jones just demolished the Miami Dolphins in his Indianapolis Colts debut, throwing for 272 yards and accounting for 3 total touchdowns in a dominant 33-8 victory that has the entire NFL talking. The former New York Giants quarterback completed an incredibly efficient 22 of 29 passes, including a career-high 197 yards in just the first half alone, scored twice on 1-yard rushing touchdowns, made all the right calls at the line of scrimmage, and had 0 turnovers while taking only 1 sack. The result? He earned his first win as a starting quarterback since October 6th last year with the Giants, the same team that cast him aside later that season. But here's where it gets absolutely insane for Viking Nation. If Jones continues to start for most of the season in Indianapolis and plays 60.6% of offensive snaps or more, the Vikings will automatically receive a 4th-round compensatory draft pick next April instead of just a 5th rounder. The difference between a 4th and 5th round pick is absolutely massive in NFL draft speak because 4th rounders are reasonably expected to contribute immediately while 5th rounders rarely pan out at all. It's like an inexact cutoff for realistic draft expectations, and Jones just gave Minnesota the perfect start toward earning that premium selection. The Athletic noted that Jones and the Colts scored on all 7 of their drives Sunday with 3 touchdowns and a perfect 4 for 4, showing on field goal attempts, making them the first team to score on every possession of a game since at least 1978, according to NFL records. Jones also became just the 5th quarterback in NFL history to record at least 250 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in a season opener, proving that Kevin O'Connell's quarterback whisperer reputation extends even to players who never actually played a single down in Minnesota. If you want to know why Adofo-Mensah signed Jones in the first place and then didn't play him at all in Minnesota, it's because of this very reason, playing the compensatory draft pick game, which some call 4-dimensional chess. Do you think Kwesi's move was pure genius or just lucky timing? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because if you believe in the Vikings more than you hate the Packers, smash that subscribe button right now and show the entire NFC North that Viking Nation runs deeper than any other fan base in football. And just when fans thought the Daniel Jones situation couldn't get crazier, here comes the next bombshell that proves former Vikings players are thriving everywhere except maybe in our own building. Former Viking superstars Daniel Jones and Cameron Bynum didn't just find success with their new team in Week 1. They absolutely dominated together in a way that has everyone questioning what could have been if Minnesota had kept this dynamic duo in purple uniforms. This offseason saw a massive turnover on the Vikings roster as they replaced virtually their entire position groups at quarterback, defensive tackle, interior offensive line, and cornerback. And now we're seeing exactly how those departed players are performing with their new franchises. Both Jones and Bynum opted to leave Minnesota to sign new contracts with the Indianapolis Colts. And on Sunday, those Colts took on the Miami Dolphins to begin their season in what ended up being a complete blowout victory, defeating Miami by a devastating score of 33-8, with both former Vikings playing major roles in that impressive win. Bynum had been a key starter on Minnesota's defense over the past couple of years, so his success wasn't necessarily a huge surprise, but the safety still managed to record 3 tackles, a pair of passes defended, and an interception of Tua Tagovailoa that showcased exactly why he was such a valued member of our secondary. The former Vikings defensive back who recorded 10 passes, defended, and 3 interceptions last year in a Minnesota uniform kept it rolling seamlessly in week 1, proving that his ball skills and football intelligence translate perfectly to any defensive system. But the more shocking development was Jones's incredible efficiency as a starting quarterback after spending the end of the 2024 season as the Vikings' backup following his release by the New York Giants. Remember, Jones's time with the Giants concluded after a disastrous start to that season, in which he started 10 games and threw for only 270 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, while the Giants went just 2-8 in those starts. After concluding the year with Minnesota, Jones decided to bet on himself by signing a 1-year deal with Indianapolis, which was surprising considering Anthony Richardson was still on the team after being selected with the 4th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Further surprises were in store when the Colts announced that Jones would be starting over the uber-athletic Richardson this season, proving Jones correct in his decision to prove that he can still start in the NFL. The veteran quarterback further cemented his belief in himself as absolutely correct by throwing for 272 yards and a touchdown while completing an incredibly impressive 22 of his 29 pass attempts, along with an additional pair of rushing touchdowns. It was the first time Jones threw for over 270 yards since week 4 of last season, and just the 3rd time since the 2023 season, which makes his performance even more remarkable. Do you think the Vikings made a mistake letting both Jones and Bynum walk away to Indianapolis? Could this dynamic duo have helped Minnesota make an even deeper playoff run last season? Let us know what you think, because perhaps this impressive start for Bynum, Jones, and the Colts is only a matter of playing a Dolphins team that could be worse than initially believed. But on the other hand, particularly in the case of Jones, it further solidifies Kevin O'Connell's status as a quarterback whisperer who can turn quarterbacks into viable NFL players even without them taking a single snap in his system. But that's not the only fire burning inside this franchise. The next revelation is even more explosive, and it involves one of the most beloved players in recent Vikings history facing an unprecedented situation. The big plot twist for Harrison Smith is about to send shockwaves through Viking Nation, because the legendary safety who enters year 14 in 2025 won't factor into Monday night's plans at Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears. The perhaps future Hall of Famer was officially ruled out over the weekend, meaning the Vikings will have to rely on more youthful options as the 2025 campaign gets off the ground without one of their most reliable defensive anchors. Smith is officially out for Monday Night Football, and all things regarding his status will now pivot to week 2 at home against the Atlanta Falcons, marking the first time in his illustrious career that he'll miss a season opener. NBC Sports reported that the Vikings listed safety Harrison Smith as doubtful to play on Monday night when they handed in their injury report on Saturday, and they removed any doubt about his status on Sunday when they announced he did not travel with the team to Chicago. Smith is listed with an illness, and he had been out of practice for a significant stretch before returning to the field earlier this week in a limited capacity. The veteran actually practiced Friday in a limited capacity, which increased hope that the 36-year-old might play in week 1. But the Vikings decided to operate under an abundance of caution with their defensive leader. The last few weeks have been a slow burn involving Smith's health, as he hasn't practiced in nearly a month and didn't participate in any preseason games. Though head coach Kevin O'Connell mostly rests starters anyway during exhibition contests. One source reportedly told Vikings territory a couple of weeks ago that Smith was battling a hernia, while another adjusted that intel to a different H word, hemorrhoids. In any event, the Vikings have coined Smith's ailment a personal matter, and both conditions would fit that criteria perfectly. Smith has never missed a Week 1 game in his entire career, so if his absence feels absolutely weird on Monday night, it's for a completely valid reason, because this situation is totally unprecedented for the durable defender. In fact, the beloved defender hasn't missed more than 3 games in a season since his second year, all the way back in 2013, having been featured by various Minnesota defensive coordinators as a beacon of incredible durability throughout his career. It's one of Smith's most impressive signatures and is especially noteworthy considering his hard-hitting play style, particularly during his younger days when he was absolutely fearless in coverage and run support. Without Smith on Monday night, Minnesota will lean heavily on Josh Metellus, the team's Swiss Army knife defensive back, and newly appointed starter Theo Jackson, who has taken over for Cameron Bynum, who is now a member of the Indianapolis Colts, as we discussed earlier. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores also has third-year safety Jay Ward on his depth chart, in addition to newcomers Tavier Thomas, Kevon Wallace on the practice squad, and Caleb Hilassi also on the practice squad. Thankfully, Smith's absence doesn't seem incredibly long-term according to team sources, so the fixes on Monday Night Football should be patchwork and temporary rather than a permanent adjustment to the defensive scheme. Are you worried about the secondary without Harrison Smith anchoring everything from the back end? Do you think Josh Metellus and Theo Jackson can hold down the fort until our veteran leader returns to action? Sound off in the comments, because if you're a true Viking believer, hit that like button to show Smith some love during his recovery. Stay with me, because what comes next will flip the script in ways nobody predicted, and it involves our franchise left tackle whose injury status could make or break J.J. McCarthy's debut on Monday Night Football. Ian Rappaport just gave a Murky Vikings update about Christian Darisaw's injury situation for the Bears game that has everyone on edge about our offensive line protection. The Minnesota Vikings have a crucial date with the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football in Week 1. But they may be without one of their most important offensive linemen as Darisaw continues his recovery from a torn ACL and MCL in his left knee that he suffered last season during what was supposed to be a breakout campaign. The star tackle participated fully in the last practice for the Vikings, but the team may still be trying to play it extremely safe with their franchise cornerstone, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, who dropped some concerning intel about the situation. Rappaport stated that he would expect the team to exercise significant caution with Darisaw's murky status, explaining that while he's not definitively saying the tackle won't play, it's Week 1, and if he's not perfect or truly ready, he would not be surprised if they hold him out and roll with him for Week 2 instead. Darisaw is currently listed as questionable for the game, so it could truly end up being a game-time decision on whether he plays, which adds another layer of uncertainty to an already complicated situation. Nonetheless, head coach Kevin O'Connell is pleased with what he's seen from Darisaw as the veteran tries to put himself in position to play after months of grueling rehabilitation. O'Connell mentioned that they'll be able to have that crucial conversation and figure out if Darisaw is going to go or not this week, but if it's not this week, he knows the tackle is getting really close to full health. Darisaw also spoke candidly days ago about working back from his devastating injury, emphasizing the mental aspect of his recovery process. The tackle explained that he's got to have confidence in himself both mentally and physically, acknowledging that he knows he's got to be there all the way, because you don't want to put yourself in a worse position where you're kind of half-stepping through plays. When Darisaw has that complete confidence and knows that he's truly ready to rock, he'll be out there for sure, but until then, the team seems committed to protecting their investment. Outside of the Darisaw situation, Harrison Smith will definitely not be available in week 1 as he was downgraded to out a day before the game, and he has only practiced once since August 11th while dealing with an illness that hasn't allowed him to hit the field consistently. The good news is that Smith is progressing through his illness, which bodes well for the Vikings and their defense moving forward. As of now, they will likely use Theo Jackson as the starting safety while Smith is sidelined, creating yet another adjustment for a defense that already lost several key pieces since last season. The Vikings defense was one of the absolute best in the league last season, but they have lost a few key pieces since then, including Cameron Bynum, who signed with Indianapolis. They should still be able to cause significant havoc, and it will be fascinating to see how they look this season with all these moving pieces. Do you think the Vikings should risk playing Darisaw in week 1, or should they be extra cautious and wait until he's 100% healthy? How concerned are you about the offensive line protection for JJ? McCarthy's debut if our franchise left tackle can't go. Let us know your thoughts, because if you're riding with Viking Nation through thick and thin, smash that subscribe button and prove that Purple Pride runs deeper than any other fan base in the NFC North. And listen closely. The next chapter is the kind of news that divides a fan base right down the middle, because it comes straight from the greatest quarterback of all time. And it's about our rookie signal caller who's about to make his Monday Night Football debut. Tom Brady just warned Vikings fans not to expect too much from JJ McCarthy in year 1. And his reality check is something every single member of Viking Nation needs to hear before they get their hopes sky high. The 7-time Super Bowl champion thinks Vikings fans would be extremely wise to temper expectations for McCarthy, at least for this season, and his reasoning makes complete sense when you break down the development curve for young quarterbacks. Brady explained to PFF's Chris Collinsworth that Vikings fans are expecting JJ to come and play at the exact same level that Sam Darnold did last season, but he thinks that's a tremendous amount to ask from such a young player who's still learning the nuances of professional football. The GOAT pointed out that in his second year, he wasn't the same quarterback that he was in year 7 or year 8, emphasizing that he was significantly better in 2007 than when he was in 2001, when he first took over as a starter for the New England Patriots. Brady stressed that these years of development all add up over time, and he thinks it's somewhat unfair to create unrealistic expectations for a quarterback in his second year. Though he acknowledged that Minnesota Vikings fans are naturally going to have those sky-high expectations because of how high of a draft pick McCarthy is and how much he has to prove. McCarthy will make his regular season debut Monday night when the Vikings open the season against the Bears at Soldier Field, marking the first real look at the young quarterback who has been handed the keys to the franchise as a 22-year-old starting quarterback with massive expectations. Like Brady, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell has also cautioned expectations for McCarthy in year 1, recognizing the enormous pressure that comes with being a top 10 draft pick. O'Connell explained back in July that there's going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs throughout the season, later adding that they drafted a player they hoped would hold himself to a standard that allows that arrow to stay pointed up regardless of the immediate result, especially early on, because they're trying to build a player who can sustain success for a long time in Minnesota rather than burning out quickly. Brady expects that O'Connell will intelligently cater the offense to the things McCarthy does well, and then gradually add more to the 22-year-old's plate as the season progresses and he becomes more comfortable. Vikings fans will learn about how much McCarthy can handle in real time, but Brady thinks the young quarterback has all the tools necessary to be absolutely fantastic at the professional level. The legendary quarterback praised McCarthy's college resume, pointing out that he won a national championship at Michigan, and when you beat Ohio State like they did and perform the way they did in those massive moments, there are plenty of reasons to like his poise and composure, along with his obvious physical abilities. Brady noted that McCarthy is a really good passer of the football with enough mobility to extend plays when necessary, and he's a very grounded kid who impressed everyone during his time with the Wolverines. The future Hall of Famer loved JJ when he was playing for Michigan, and now that he got drafted high to Minnesota, he has a legitimate chance to go prove himself at the highest level. But Brady emphasized that it really doesn't matter what Tom Brady thinks, or Chris Collinsworth, or anybody from the Minneapolis Tribune. What matters most is what JJ thinks and what his teammates think of him moving forward. McCarthy will absolutely have to block out the external noise when he inevitably makes mistakes in games that truly matter. And the good news is that he's already had plenty of practice dealing with criticism, having had to endure wild criticism from talking heads like Colin Cowherd, who has made it abundantly clear that he doesn't believe in McCarthy and doubts he has the arm strength to be truly great in the NFL. As Brady pointed out, that's exactly the kind of adversity McCarthy would need to overcome throughout his career. The GOAT quarterback reasoned that he's sure every game won't be 3 touchdowns and no interceptions for the young signal caller, predicting that there's going to be plenty of ups and downs throughout the season. Brady stressed that in an NFL season, the one thing everyone knows for certain is that there's adversity every single step of the way, including losses, injuries, calls that don't go your way, and matchups that don't go your way either. You gotta have a team with incredible leadership that's able to overcome whatever adversity you face, and that's exactly what the Vikings are hoping to build around their young quarterback. Do you think Brady's advice is spot on, or are you confident that JJ McCarthy can exceed expectations right out of the gate? Are you ready to be patient with our rookie quarterback's development, or do you expect immediate results? Let us know where you stand, because buckle up, Viking Nation. The McCarthy ride is just getting started, and nobody knows if it'll be smooth or bumpy. But if you're along for the entire journey, hit that subscribe button and show the football world that purple pride never wavers regardless of the circumstances. And if this week felt like an earthquake, what's coming next could be the aftershock that topples the entire season, because these 5 revelations have completely reshaped the landscape of Viking Nation heading into Monday Night Football. From Daniel Jones potentially earning the Vikings a massive 4th-round compensatory pick with his dominant Indianapolis debut, to former Viking superstars thriving together with the Colts in ways that make you question every front office decision, to Harrison Smith missing his first week 1 ever due to a mysterious illness, to Christian Darisaw's murky injury status threatening JJ, McCarthy's protection, to Tom Brady's reality check about tempering expectations for our rookie quarterback. Each of these stories carries enormous implications for how this season unfolds. The Daniel Jones situation proves that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah might be playing 4-dimensional chess with compensatory picks, potentially turning a player who never took a snap in Minnesota into valuable draft capital that could help build the future of this franchise. Watching Jones and Cameron Bynum dominate together in Indianapolis stings a little bit, but it also validates Kevin O'Connell's reputation as a quarterback whisperer who can develop talent even without playing him. Harrison Smith's absence creates a massive hole in the secondary that Josh Metellus and Theo Jackson will need to fill. But it also reminds us just how durable and reliable our veteran leader has been throughout his incredible career. Christian Darisaw's questionable status adds another layer of uncertainty to an already complicated offensive line situation, and the decision on whether to play him could determine whether JJ McCarthy's debut is a success or a disaster. Tom Brady's warning about realistic expectations serves as a crucial reminder that developing a franchise quarterback takes time, patience, and the right support system, regardless of draft position or college success. These storylines will define the early portion of the 2025 season, and every single one of them deserves your attention as we navigate the beginning of what could be a special year in Minnesota. If you believe the Vikings can overcome any adversity and compete with anyone in the NFC, smash that like button and let everyone know that Viking Nation stands united through every twist and turn. If you think JJ McCarthy has what it takes to exceed Brady's cautious expectations and lead this team to greatness, drop a fire emoji in the comments and show your unwavering support for our young quarterback. And if you want to stay updated on every single development with this franchise as the season unfolds, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're going to be covering every angle of this incredible journey from the highest highs to the lowest lows. Think this was wild? Just wait until the rivals make their counter move, because that war is only beginning and the entire NFC North is about to find out exactly what Viking Nation is made of when the pressure is at its absolute highest. The next 72 years Late 72 hours might be the most decisive in this franchise's history. So stay tuned, because if you thought this was the peak of chaos, the real avalanche is just starting, and you don't want to miss a single moment of what promises to be an unforgettable ride.